Greetings, gentle viewers. I'm George from Ireland. So I'm outside St Martin's in the Fields Church in London. Sorry, in the Fields, plural, because it was in between the City of London and the City of Westminster. So I've shown you the exterior of the church quite a bit. I'm under the portico. So as in, this is the entrance way. So you can get out of your horse-drawn carriage, or if you're walking, if you're one of the mere denizens of the city, and stay out of the rain. Okay, so I'm going to show you the inside in a bit. This church, well, it dates from 1726, the current building, but there has been a place of Christian worship on the site for many centuries before that, and it really was in the fields, in the countryside, between London and Westminster, as I was saying. There's this huge slab here carved, and the word was made flesh. I might not be able to show you the inscription all the way around, so I'm just telling you what the legend is carved into it. And don't ask me what sort of stone it is. All right. Looks almost like a mounting block down there. So you can get onto your GG. That's a horse. That's a horse, a GG, in case you don't know Britannic slang. And then this is the church of the perpetually open door, as I've said on another occasion. So here we go. A very fine example of 18th century interior architecture. And various oil paintings of various worthies. There was George the First on the other side. Not sure I'll get into there. And a little disabled lift. Because anyway, there's a crypt underneath. I don't think I'll bother with the crypt. Crypt meaning secret or hidden in ancient Greek, so it's under the church. So there's a baptismal font. Anyway, so certain people paid for their pew, even used to have their names on it. So the wealthy felt a lot more welcome here than ordinary folk. So this is a typical Anglican church of the 18th century. When I say typical, it's obviously a very wealthy parish. The parish has varied enormously in income, and therefore the salary for the priest varied a lot. So in the Church of England, the religious leaders are called priests. They used to use the Catholic terminology, and some of the hardcore Protestants don't like that. Methodists, Presbyterians, Baptists prefer to say minister or pastor. So there you see the wreath, the poppy wreath, as in from the First World War, John McCrae's famous poem. That Canadian Army doctor was killed in the war, wrote the poem mentioning the poppies lying row on row. Can't see what the flag is for. And who is this Roman soldier? Is he holding the dead Jesus taken down from the cross? But that Jesus doesn't look to be quite dead. Okay, and a memorial plaque up above. Anyway, so you get the idea. Then there's a gallery up high. It reminds me actually of Bevis Mark Synagogue. Anyway, so the pulpit up here. Priests would walk up there and preach from up high. So Anglican clergy, they've got different titles like vicar. I'm not quite sure of the precise definition, but it's something to do with his status within the parish, as in he definitely controls that parish, can't be easily got rid of. Here, of course, could be she, because there's been women priests in the Church of England since 1994, if I got that right. And so preach from up there, up high, you can see, you can be seen, project your voice if you're a clergyman. But they do have the laity preaching, as in could be me, not that I'm an Anglican, could be an ordinary man or these days an ordinary woman, lighting candles in memory of the dear departed. Unusual in an Anglican church. This is a fairly plain one because memorial to people killed in the South African War, 1899 to 1902, the Second South African War. Because the Church of England, some people say it's Reformed, it's not Protestant, it practices Catholicism but not Roman Catholicism, since the Pope is not the head of their church. The British monarch is the head of their church, head and supreme governor of the Church of England. And Elizabeth II, she's also head of the Church of Scotland, but the Church of Scotland is established, but no, sorry, it's the national church, it's not the established church. I don't quite grasp the distinction. So that's that, and that's me, and I take a lively interest in ecclesiastical matters, and I don't quite get it. So you can see these chandeliers up high, very artful and handsome, I think you might agree. So it's not that decorous as churches go. And then up towards the altar, as in the table. But there's no crucifix or any crosses. 2 candles. Remember, in a Roman Catholic church, you'd always get 6 candles. Nobody's been able to explain to me the significance of the numerology in the Universal Church. That's the Catholic Church. So some people say they're Anglo-Catholics. This is a broad church, the Church of England. Has a fairly latitudinarian attitude, as some people are Roman Catholics in all but formal designation. The Pope isn't head of their church, but they'd call their priests father. They talk about sacraments, they have confession and so forth. They like the bells and smells. They're very iconographic, very ritualistic, and they venerate saints. They have monks and nuns. Whereas obviously there's some ones who are proudly Protestant and all the rest of it believe in simplicity in worship, the centrality of the Bible, sola scriptura, and justification through faith alone, and they dislike too much gaudiness. And then obviously the people are in between. So look at all the stencil work up high. They got shell designs and whatnot. So it really repays craning your neck, but you don't have to, because I can simply angle this. I think you get the picture. So hope you're not getting motion sickness seeing that. And then pointing towards the east, as in Jerusalem is to the east. But what if your church is further east than Jerusalem? Does it have to be the west? I'm not sure. So in this part of the world, the altar is almost always to the east, plus it's the rising sun coming in. Obviously Jerusalem isn't just east, it's more like southeast, but I think they simply pointed due east. I knew of one church in Scotland where the altar was at the wrong end, and people said, oh, you're accidentally worshipping the devil through that. And then look at the royal coat of arms up there, the lion, the unicorn. I wish I could zoom. Up high, the crest above it, the crown, and another line above it. And then the motto, Dieu est mon droit. The motto is French, God and my right. Okay, and then look here, you can see the sunburst, and it's got the Hebrew lettering, okay, as in the name of God. I am. So he said to Moses, the burning bush, I am, as in I am, me exist, kind of. So that's it, because he is the, if you believe in the Abrahamic God, you believe in just he's the ultimate existence, the thing that pre-existed everything else. And there's the organ up there. So there's a fantastic musical tradition in the Church of England, although I think sometimes the Catholic musical tradition is finer, like we've got Ave Maria, Panis Angelicus, and so forth. So that is a little bit of St. Martin's in the Fields Church, a fine example of an 18th century church when this country was moving towards being a superpower, and perhaps you can see some of its growing confidence and majesty in the design, and yet there's simplicity to it. Obviously it's not a patch on a typical church you'd find in France, Italy or Spain from the same epoch. But the one thing that appealed to the upper orders here about Anglicanism and or Protestantism is it was cheap. It didn't demand too much expense and too much or ornate decoration. Okay, and there you can see the names of various people's church wardens and so on who served the place. A portrait of King George I, who came over from Hanover. Terrible glare, you can't make it out. You can see it, oh God, just a tiny bit better. Oh, forget it. Need anti-glare on this camera. So that is a little bit about St. Martin's in the Fields Church.